I'm Megan Skidmore. For 2.5 years, I have been talking about evolving faith journeys. I started to tire of the heaviness of this focus. I had the clear message come through. It is time for Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast to evolve into Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast. With the same vulnerability and unapologetic authenticity, I will be focusing on the joy in this journey, the life and the living that comes on the other side of maybe, on the other side of what's possible. I want to talk about claiming spiritual sovereignty and becoming your own captain of your vessel. Let's celebrate releasing what no longer aligns for you and connecting with your higher power and honor expanding your energy field to make room for all things new. The vibration is high this month on Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast. Pretense is dropped and caution thrown to the wind in each interview. I am dropping a new episode daily, spotlighting one of the amazing, soul-led, heart-centered authors of Joan of Arc Publishing, or JOA Publishing, founded by Keira Brinton. Like the namesake for this publishing house, each one embodies the fearless, God-centered spirit left by the legacy of Joan of Arc. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single one. Hey, Kangie, welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy that you made time in your schedule to meet with me and have this chat today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm thrilled.
Yeah, admittedly, we only met just last month, and I already feel like we've connected, and I'm really excited to share some of your wisdom, your aura, your spirit with our listeners. So if you can just take a moment, let's just get started. Tell us about your background, all the things, spiritual, educational, your family, all of those things.
All the things.
All
There's
the things.
so many. Now, I grew up in Utah. I was the surprise baby to lucky teenage parents. My mom was 18, my dad was 19. So I came in to this world in a very like, hey, look at me kind of way, I suppose. Yeah, so very young parents growing up in Utah, it could be seen as very conservative and with the religion and all of that as well. So of course they went through their things involving teenage pregnancy and scrutiny for that. I don't know. I'm the oldest of 5. They did their best for a long time and ended up getting divorced when I was 12 years old. My mom, she struggled with drug addictions for most of my life. So when they divorced, my dad got custody. Me and my 2 siblings with her, and then eventually ended up remarrying, and I have a stepbrother and a half brother through that marriage. So we grew up seeing my mom on the weekends, and sometimes we had a really wonderful time. Sometimes it was hard to expect what was going to happen. And my dad owns a business and had the same business for 25, 30 years now. He's very successful in it. And with that came a lot of work. So he was gone a lot. So to make that sort of longer description short, I was the mom, I was the guardian, I was the caretaker for everyone. And I've carried that on throughout my life. I always take care of the people around me, and I care deeply to do it. I love me. That's happening, but I also have more recently stepped into the role of caring for myself. And I've tried at different instances throughout my life. So when I was 19, I moved from the town that I grew up in to a ski resort town here in Utah called Park City. And I worked at a ski resort, and I worked in the salon, was doing, sort of my own thing in adulthood. And I met people from all over the world who were working there at the resort, and just asking them questions, how are you here? Like literally all over the world, South America, Europe, everywhere. And I just was so, growing up in Utah, I'm like, oh my gosh, how did you get to this place with the whole big world? And found out about visas and working holiday visas. And so I talked to a girlfriend who was going to come with me when I received my visa to go to Australia. And she ended up kind of getting scared and backing out right before we left, but I had my backpack and I had my ticket and I was going. So I went to Australia when I was 19.
Wow.
Looking back on it now, I see that a lot of it was, yes, I'm a Sagittarius. I like adventure and I like to go, fiery and all of that. But a lot of it was escape as well. I was running away from
Mhm.
everything that I had experienced up to that point. And I lived in Australia for a year. I did a working tourist visa. And while I was there in Sydney, I did crazy things actually. I don't know how I didn't die. I hitchhiked from Cairns, which is at one of the northernmost points of the east coast of Australia, down to Sydney for a job. And I don't know, just been protected. I put myself in situations while I was out there that I would be terrified if my own children did now, it
Mhm.
just, but I felt invincible. Not that I was, or maybe, I'm here. But yeah, so I ended up in Sydney and I made a friend. He was quite a bit older than me, but just really felt safe with him and comfortable. And at first, sort of like a big brother, looking after me. But anyway, he ended up being my husband. So he's from England, and we ended up moving back to England shortly after we got married here in Utah, after being in Australia. And I lived there for 7 years,
Mhm.
then moved back to Utah 7 years ago. So I never thought I would come back to Utah, but I just felt this need. It was
Mhm.
beyond logical thinking for us
Mhm.
to go back to Utah, but I couldn't get it out of my mind. Like it was placed there for a reason.
Interesting. Tell
So
us about your faith journey and how it was woven in and out of these formative years for you, where you were at in that respect.
okay. So living in Utah, I think a lot of people have had interaction with the LDS church.
Mhm.
And although my own family, looking out this window, I know we should be making eye contact, but it's beautiful. I hope that's okay. Anyway, so my own family didn't go, my parents didn't go to church on a regular basis, but portions of my family were very active and went on a regular basis. We weren't ever taken by family, but there was a woman across the road who used to take me and my siblings on a pretty regular basis. She was lovely. She was super kind and, just could see that we needed some extra support. And so I really loved going to church with her from that aspect. Looking back on it now, it was more because of her and not necessarily religion. As years have gone on, I don't claim any one religion. I feel it, I sense it, I know it. If I were to claim God, I would say Mother, Father, God, or pure source light. And from my aspect, I see it here. We all are radiating source light from within our heart spaces. That's not what you asked me, though. You asked me about my journey.
No, that's exactly what I asked. I want to hear all of it. How were you able, or do you remember at what point you gave yourself permission to, or did you ever feel like you had to?
Give myself permission to.
Sorry, to you had some foundation in a religion growing up, and you had a kindly neighbor lady who took you, but that didn't necessarily, that way of being or existing or living didn't necessarily stick for you. You have found your own way, your own method of connecting with God, the divine, the universe. You call it source light. I love that. I've not ever heard that before. Like how did you get to that place? I guess is what I'm asking.
So religion did have an aspect in it. When my dad got remarried, we did go to the LDS church more often. So I was in, classes and reading the stories from their different books. I can't remember all of them. And I've always been able to feel what they would call the Holy Ghost, or just that inspiration, that spark within. and pick through the details. I remember one time the teacher was reading us a story. I can't remember which story it was, but he was talking about how within the stories and within the words, there was so much extra meaning, and that you had to sort of decipher and read between the lines to understand what the underlying moral of the story was, so to speak. And I've always been able to see that, feel that, even within just seeing people and looking in their eyes. Like I feel it. And I think it's been intimidating for a lot of people as well, because I am very much an activator and a reflector in the fact that I can see it, so they can feel that I can see it. And it's sometimes things that aren't wanting to be felt yet or looked into. So anyway, I was baptized into the Mormon church, and I did go quite frequently. I remember being told when I was probably 15 that I'd be a great missionary, and understanding that at that time I understood what they were saying, as in I felt this spirit, so to speak, and I understood and could see through things, but I never felt like I wanted to go and knock on people's doors and try and say, you need to be a part of this. Everyone deserves to make their own choices. And that never felt right to me. So by the time I was 16, I let my family know that it wasn't for me, and I stopped going. And my dad used to joke when we were younger that his church was on the mountain at the ski resort or at the golf course. Or and I definitely picked up that same sentiment of finding God in nature and really connecting in my own way that way. And I'm a seeker. I'm constantly looking for more knowledge, more information, and filling into that. It's gotten deeper within myself. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 5 years, so I've had that extra space and time to be on my own, I guess, a bit more, where I could have that hermit mode and sit with myself and really connect with my own source light. And that has made a massive difference in my spirituality.
I love that so much. I really enjoy talking about personal experiences that folks have had, especially when you have come from a conservative faith background, whether that's LDS or otherwise. I think there's so much to be learned and gained from hearing and learning other people's stories. That is the one thing that is truly ours to claim, that is not up for debate, even though there are those around us who will try to debate. But I believe our story is our story. Our experience is our experience.
I totally agree. Yeah.
I have learned that seeing, focusing on, celebrating those moments of bliss versus the pain points, the struggles, the challenges that can come with a faith journey. That's where I find joy, claiming my sovereignty, my spiritual autonomy. It brings deeper peace and a new life, really. And I would love to hear about those types of experiences, or those types of things that you have claimed for yourself that bring you joy, that bring you those moments of bliss where you feel closer to the divine or to light source or God.
There's so many things, which I guess is a blessing in itself to be able to recognize all of those. I love how you talk about sovereignty, spiritual sovereignty, and embodying that. That's something that I was only introduced to in a verbal, physical sense, probably like within the last 5 years or so. Just those sayings of spiritual sovereignty and claiming ourselves back. It's from a book called The Sophia Code, which has been a good anchor for me in my life. And I find that looking out the window while I talk to you on a podcast and seeing certain animals fly by the window or walk past, or 11:11 on the clock, and my boys noticing it and pointing it out. or just people and things aligning. I like to see the synchronicities in day-to-day life. Us sitting next to each other at the table at such a wonderful, activating, amazing, God-led event that we went to. To get those simple pleasures bring
True.
joy every single day.
That's so true.
And I'm grateful.
Yeah, it really is the little things. They really aren't little. They are all. They're everything. They're the big things.
They are. And I mean, I could talk about so many things. I could talk about a rafting experience that I had earlier on in the summer last year and how impactful it was to help me feel emotions again and to recognize that I was numb. I could talk about beautiful sunsets in Australia on the coast when I
Mhm.
randomly came to a surf town, or hiking the tour in England and looking out over the fields and feeling connected to the divine feminine, or being in Tuscany and looking out over as a lightning storm struck right between two trees that looked to me like the unifying masculine and feminine with a lightning bolt going through the middle.
You saw this
But
live?
then
As part of my commitment to giving back, every first Friday of the month, I offer a free coaching hour. Anyone is welcome to join, and you may leave your camera off and change your name if you would like to remain anonymous. This is an opportunity to get introduced to my style of holistic coaching and what it would be like to work with me. Gain real skills, insight relevant to you, and fresh perspective on life circumstances. Each month is a different topic. For those attending, there will be opportunities for a complimentary one-off energy alignment session. Once registered, you will have access to discount codes for my other offerings. To get the link, including all the resources, register to complete the agreement at the link in the show notes.
a lot of large experiences in my life to remind me of the divine as well. And I've done a lot of exciting things that have maybe even opened me up to be able to receive them more also. But I think it's a really, really beautiful bliss. And I adore that I get to witness those everyday synchronicities on a daily basis as well.
I love that. Tell us a little bit more about the lightning one. I can't believe you saw something like that live. What a rare moment.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if I made it sound like it struck the tree. It didn't strike the tree.
Oh, yeah, I thought that's what happened, but still, I want to hear about it.
Yeah, I went, we stayed in a villa in Tuscany, and they have the big cypress trees everywhere, right? And where we were was up on a hill, and it was this gorgeous sunset leading into a thunderstorm. And it was, it had been raining, I think, since the moment that we got there, honestly. But where we were on our patio area, there was this tree that the trunk was fairly solid at the bottom, but it had separated and come around like this
Oh,
together. So I will find you the photo actually, because I
that would
have
be
a
really
photo
cool.
to
That
put
would
it
be
on.
so cool.
Yeah, so if you looked from where the patio table was through that tree, then you could see the full landscape of the vineyards behind you. And during the
Wow.
thunderstorm, it just right in the center of the two trunks coming around each other. I don't know if I got a photo of that, but I definitely got some really cool pictures of
Hmm.
the tree and stuff.
Amazing. Well, you mentioned how it was by divine means that we met each other at this conference about a month ago and not just happenstance. Tell us what brought you to the conference and what your association with, like, are you writing a book? Are you thinking of writing a book? Is it already written with Joan of Arc Publishing? And what kind of drew you to the energy of this
Everything that
conference?
Yeah, everything that has happened since I heard of Keira in, I think it was October of last
Mhm.
year. Her Instagram was just recommended to me by a mentor who is friends with her.
Mhm.
And so I got on her Instagram, and she was doing a live with one of the authors, and they were talking kind of like what we're doing now, a podcast sort of interview thing. And the amount of emotion, I started crying just listening to what they were talking about. And I did not expect that whatsoever. So the amount of emotional release just from hearing that. And on the interview, I found out that the author, was doing her book release the next day, an hour away from my home. And I already had other family obligations that I was meant to go to. It was my brother's birthday. I didn't go to my brother's birthday celebration, and I went to the book release instead. It was rainy, it was cold. There was every excuse for me to say I'm not going, but I went. And the book was called Rise. And remember, at the end of it, it's Robin Williams as the author.
Oh yeah.
At the end, they let time for Q&As, and everyone who spoke sat down while they were, and I felt this like massive urge. I can't just sit. I have to. Book is called Rise, and explained the story of how I found and got there, and thanked her for activating the leaders, because that's what she was talking about, is that she wrote the book to activate the leaders and help them in rise. And I was lucky enough to meet with Keira at the end of that and go and talk to her. And I said to her, when I stood up, my knees were shaking. And I said, but I wasn't scared. I don't get afraid of talking in front of people, really. I said it was the power that I feel in this room. Like the amount of energy coursing through my body is making my knees shake. And so she kind of looked me up and down and she said, well, we need to do something with this. So I gave her my number, my contact details on Instagram. And then life sort of started taking off again, or as it does, But I was following her on Instagram again. And in January, I got a voice note from her saying, I'm doing success, she calls it success codes. I'm doing an event in Arizona, and I feel like you need to be there. I would love to see you if you can make it, kind of a thing. And I was like, yeah, those are good marketing tactics. Like, contact me directly. But how beautiful that I would have gone had she not. So I was so grateful that she did. And I felt really special as well. I didn't tell my husband that I was going to go. I kind of felt like there would be resistance and would be told not to. And I wasn't giving myself any reason to not go, because I knew I needed to be there. So I booked the flights, booked the ticket. Actually, I booked the ticket, and then my stepmom and my dad came over. My stepmom and I haven't always had a really good relationship. It was very hard when I was younger, but it's changing as time goes on. And my spirituality, plant medicines, things have helped with that relationship for sure. But she actually ended up helping me book my flight that night.
That's great.
Helped me avoid an argument with my husband, because it was with all four of us at the table. So anyway, I went there, and we got to sit next to each other, and I was so activated in so many ways being at that event. And the breath work was so intense for me. I felt like lightning bolts were going through my body. My heart opened so much. And can I share a little bit about when I got back, what happened for me, my little miracles?
Absolutely, yes.
So I was applying for jobs because I am needing more income these days, before I left for the event. And I had a knowing and a feeling that when I came back, I was going to receive an email specifically to this job that I was really wanting as an executive functioning coach, for children with ADHD and cognitive dysfunction. So I was really excited about that, something I'm passionate about. And when I got back, I had no email from them. They hadn't even acknowledged my resume or my cover letter. However, I had an email from the leader of a cohort that I was in last year to found a microschool. And I went through this whole program with them last year, set up my website, did all of my marketing, got it all ready. And I didn't launch in August like I wanted to. I got scared, I think, of my own power and doubted myself. And so when I received this email them telling me that I had another scholarship and that the whole course would be paid for, I discounted it a little bit in myself, being like, well, I've already let you down last year. I don't want to do that again this year, but you obviously have more faith in me than I do. So, yes, please, if you still want me. And how beautiful that he didn't even respond to my email, because why would he? Why support that sort of victimization and, oh, well, you have more? No, but he responded with links for signups for all of the classes and courses for me to get back in to launching my microschool. So I was so grateful for that. And here's the part that I really love and adore is I did a call with Nikita after event. She does the sales for.
Right. I interviewed her, and her episode is the first week of the month. So folks can go back and listen to that.
Oh, good. I have to watch it.
Yeah.
You know, but it was really powerful. Her sales call was like a one-to-one coaching session. It was so much fun.
It is.
And like miracles came through it. And anyway, I was describing to her all of my skill set. Like I'm a naturopath. I know herbs. I do detoxes. I'm a doula. I freebirth my last son. Like I have a big toolbox of all of these skills and all of these ideas on how I want to utilize them. And she pointed out to me by the end of the call, and I was so grateful because nobody has ever said this before. But she just simply asked me if I get bored. And immediately I was like, yeah, duh. But it made such a difference in how I view the way that I take on my ideas and skill set. So I was working really, really hard towards finding the finances to be able to jump right into the JOA program or to one of the programs in some way. And between her pointing out or just asking me that simple question and the miracles that have aligned for me just in January on its own, with being a part of that cohort. And I'm also an advisor on an internship program for my naturopath school at the moment, which came through in another really miraculous way. But it helped me realize that right now I have so much beauty in front of me that I need to show that I can complete and that I can have gratitude for, and that those are my little miracles now. I get to found my school. I get to finish and complete my program and support this professor. I get to build my own income in a way that then brings me to the point of being not only financially ready to get into one of Keira's programs, to be an author. That's what I want to do. I want to go to the, that's what I want to do.
You want to go to the island? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it just cut out a little bit. I want to make sure I heard that. Yes.
Yeah.
Fabulous goal. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it just wasn't divine timing for me just yet, because a big portion of that is getting all of these things into alignment and showing gratitude for what I have now and finishing them instead of getting bored and moving on to the next thing.
Maybe it is the perfect divine timing because it's helping you create the path that will get you to where you want to go. Yeah. I keep hearing this question coming up for me that I'm curious to ask you. If someone listening is considering, because there's more Success Live events planned for 2025. This one in January was just the first one. If someone were considering going, maybe on the fence, what would you tell them?
I'd say don't be on the fence. Jump right off of it. Get there as quickly as you possibly can.
Don't be on the fence. Good advice.
And it's not the first seminar event that I've been to either, and it's not the first spiritually aligned seminar event that I've been to. I mentioned the book, The Sophia Code, earlier, and I've been to 2 or 3 of Keira's events, and she's a spiritual activator as well. Different. This was more like it was me activating myself. Like it wasn't Keira doing it for me. It was her creating the perfect space for me to do it for myself. Whereas at the other events that I've been to, it's always felt like it was external.
That's beautiful. I love that. That's great. Well, Kangie, I have loved hearing more of your story, and thank you for sharing some of your steps along the way and where you're at. I cannot wait to see what you create with all those tools in your toolbox and the ones that you're going to be adding as well in the near future. The last question I have for you, I ask all of my guests the same question and that is, what does living beyond the shadow of doubt mean to you?
Oh, making a choice.
Making a choice.
Yeah. Whether we like the situation that we're in or what we do in the moment or not, it's from a choice that we've made at a certain point in time.
Yeah, very good.
So acknowledging that helps us see beyond the doubt, especially self-doubt.
Mhm. Love it. Just for fun, I have some questions I like to throw out so our listeners can get to know you on a little more personal level. I'm just looking for one, maybe two-word answers. So tell us your favorite book. I'm guessing maybe the Sophia Code.
I mean, the Sophia Code has definitely been an activator in my life, but as far as I'm a Harry Potter nerd. I
Okay.
grew up with them. I was the same age as every year that the new books came out. And
Oh, really?
we're going through divorce and all of that was happening. I was like 12, 13, 14, 15. It was my escape. I just
I
became a
love
wizard at Hogwarts.
that. I love that. Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Oh, both.
Both.
I couldn't be.
Ambivert. And who's your favorite artist?
Oh, that's hard. Favorite artist. I really like an artist. She calls herself Shaping Spirit. She gathers shells or driftwood and she makes little sculptures out of them that are very, in my opinion, divine feminine. I like them a lot.
Very cool. Are you a night owl or a morning lark?
Oh, I used to be a night owl until I had kids. Now I gather up any bit of sleep that I can get.
Yeah, that's a common story. And tell us your celebrity crush, if you have one.
Tom Hardy.
Hardy. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you do still or carbonated water or diet soda or some other fun beverage?
It definitely has to be filtered with no fluoride. But I don't mind if it's
Good.
carbonated or not.
And then finally, the furthest place that you've traveled.
I don't know if it would be Australia or I went to Turkey, which would be further from Utah. But at the time I was living in England. So
Yeah. Wow, I don't know. You've just been all over. That's fun. If folks had questions for you or wanted to reach out to connect with you, what would be the easiest way for them to do that?
through Instagram, the tags at Crystalline Initiations.
Okay. We'll make sure and leave that in the show notes. Kangie, it has been a pleasure to have you and hear your story and have you impart your wisdom. Thank you so much for joining me.
I'm so grateful to know you. Thank you.
Writer, teacher, author, Mormon scholar, and founder of Dialogue Journal, Eugene England said, "My faith encourages my curiosity and awe. It thrusts me out into relationship with all creation and encourages me to enter into dialogue." As a proud member of the Dialogue Podcast Network, my hope is that Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast is an extension of that vision. Visit meganskidmorecoaching.com to find this podcast and additional free resources, including the link for a complimentary coaching session. Follow me on Facebook or Instagram for more or to send me a DM. Help the podcast grow. Please follow, review, and share with a friend.